gentlelady from New York.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Ms. Laura has just reminded me that when we began the debate on health care, that 8 states in the United States and the District of Columbia considered violence against women to be a pre-existing condition, and a woman who had been beaten to a pulp could not be insured because she was apt to have that happen to her again. And we changed that in that bill. I think all of us, too, are familiar with the phrase, the rule of the thumb, but I'm not sure a lot of us understand what it means. The rule of thumb was the size of a man's thumb and the stick with which he could legally beat his wife. So every time you use that, I want you to remember what that means. Since the enactment, we've all said that domestic violence has fallen over half. The policemen have been trained, the courts have been trained to understand it better. There was a time in the United States when it was simply considered a private matter, and police would not always take away the offending partner, leaving a person again. I don't think anybody in the House of Representatives wants this to expire. I'm sure they don't. Everybody has mothers and sisters and daughters, nieces and aunts that you want to protect. This is such a simple thing. It doesn't hurt the budget at all. But we have tried our best to get this bill to be brought up in this House, and we are terrified, frankly. Those of us who spent a good bit of our time in Congress trying to deal with this act. As I've pointed out many times, I've been at this since 1994. It's such a serious thing that shelters for battered women are never revealed as to their location because of fear that the offending spouse will find them and make them come home or other things. We've seen a number this past 5-6 years of spouses being killed. And we always look at what goes on in those houses, and nobody ever realized before what was happening there. More women obviously need to know that there is some place that they can go and some place that they can get help. But let me give you a figure, because we're very much concerned here about deficit and budget and cost. But studies recently released have shown that just a 2-minute screening of domestic violence victims and a yearly checkup, just 2 minutes, can save nearly $6 billion in chronic health care costs every year. The screenings are provided for in the Violence Against Women Act, which trains health care professionals to recognize and address the signs of domestic violence, because obviously most women who are trying to cover it up and simply attempt to live with it are not going to bring it up themselves. But approximately 2 million women are physically or sexually assaulted or stalked by an intimate partner every single year. 1 out of every 6 women has experienced an attempted or completed rape at some point in her lifetime. 1 in 4 women in the U.S. will experience domestic violence in her lifetime. This is terrible. Congress has a responsibility to ensure that rape prevention programs are fully funded, that law enforcement has the resources, that battered women's shelters are open, that victim advocates have the training to stop the violence against women. With VAWA's authorization expiring before this year's end, we are in danger of letting these responsibilities go unfilled. Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent to insert the text of my amendment in the record, along with the extraneous material immediately prior to the vote on the previous question.
Hearing no objection, so ordered.
And I urge my colleagues, please vote no. Please vote no on the previous question for all those women who live in fear, for all those children who witness that violence and changes their lives forever, for all those people who are killed, people whose lives are changed so much forever, mentally, physically, they will never, ever be the same. For heaven's sakes, let's reauthorize this bill. It does so much for them. I urge everyone in the House to please vote no, defeat the previous question so we continue to provide that support to the millions of women who are victims of domestic violence and sexual assault. I urge a no vote on the rule and yield back the balance of my time.
Gentlelady has yielded back her time. The gentleman from Georgia is now